Today we are gonna do something crazy, something insane, something super excited. In my entire life, I'm doing something like this. So, right now, we are shooting a podcast with none other than Bill Allen about his journey, about all the stuff that he has done in the entrepreneurial journey, ClickFunnels world, how he literally left his full-time job and built his multiple eight figures empire. So we're going to be talking all about that. Huge shout out, credit, thank you to Bill for giving me this opportunity, for having this kind of experience to shoot podcast in the air, a podcast in his private plane. We are flying at almost 31,000 feet right now, and we are here with Bill Allen. Now, he's a guy who was a Navy pilot, and along with that, he built an eight-figure business with being a full-time W2 employee. So his journey is amazing, and I have some interesting stuff we'll be discussing in this flight. First of all, thank you so much, Bill, for this amazing experience. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, so thanks for that.
It's awesome. We got to fly over the Grand Canyon, and we're looking at snow right now and different canyons in Arizona. It's beautiful. Been a beautiful day. It's clear all the way up to 31,000.
Absolutely. So we just got off, we were at Funnel Hacking Live 10, and we spent around like 5-6 days over there, and then there we started this interaction, and it's like, how can we do a podcast in a plane? And Bill was kind enough, and he just says, okay, we can do it on this Sunday. Okay, I canceled my flights from Vegas to Toronto, booked it again from Nashville to Toronto now, so I'll be flying a day later, but here we are today. So Bill, I have an interesting question to start with.
Hey, before we start,
Yeah.
I think it's a lesson for anybody that watches this, is when you got an opportunity for an experience, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do that, it doesn't work, or I have to cancel my flight and get a different flight, and you just said yes.
Right.
So that's a lesson for business, is just say yes. Like if there's an opportunity or you try something new or you get an experience that you may never get again, just say yes and figure it out.
I absolutely agree. At first, to be honest, I thought like you were kidding. And
I'm not kidding.
I'm like, okay, I asked you this question, are you serious that we'll be doing this on Sunday? So, and I didn't thought for a moment, and I'm like, okay, let's do it, let's cancel the flights and the opportunity to do this thing. So as we are in this private plane, and I want to start the question with this. I saw a couple of clips that you have posted, and then you talk about like how you can own a plane at the price of Toyota Corolla or Tesla or like a Ford 150. I want to know more about it. How exactly it can be done?
Yeah. So that video got like 6 million views and a bunch of people talking trash in the comments about me in some areas. But you can, it's not really that expensive. You can get some really affordable airplanes. Now, there is a caveat to that. The maintenance is a little bit expensive. Insurance, you have some insurance costs, and fuel is not the same as like driving your car. But, it doesn't cost a lot to get into aviation a lot of times and into airplanes. There's things like flying clubs. So a flying club might have 5 or 6 different airplanes, and you just pay for a membership, almost like a gym, and then you can just rent a plane from there once you get your license. But there's airplanes out there for $30,000-$40,000. And like 50, 60, like the Tesla one. That's Tesla Model X, $120,000. You can get a great plane for under $100,000. Not like this, but I mean, my first plane I bought for $90,000.
Wow.
And so and it flew great, no problem. I did some upgrades to it. Ended up selling it, made $150,000 on it. So I fixed it up and turned around and sold it. So there's great opportunities out there. It may not be as expensive as you think. So I would consider it. I think a lot of people think flying is just crazy expensive, and it can be in certain areas or some airplanes. But you can get an affordable airplane for. I found plenty of planes that I flew around that were the price of a Toyota Corolla, like a decked out Toyota Corolla, $45,000, $50,000.
What's the cheapest or minimum investment you think, okay, someone has to keep this much in their mind before they go for making a decision to buy the plane?
Yeah, what I would say, my recommendation is 10% of your disposable income. So of your income. So if you make $1 million a year, then you should have about $100,000 of operating costs, maybe $200,000, maybe 10 to 20% operating cost. But if you have a plane like my old plane was a Bonanza A36. It cost me about $100,000 to buy, and it only cost me about $15,000 to $20,000 a year to operate.
Oh.
So if you're making 200 grand or 150 grand a year or more, probably can afford to do something like that. If you have if you have a payment on it, like a car, I paid in cash, but maybe a little bit more than that. So 150 to 200,000 a year. I think you just have to be willing to. I mean, you get the freedom of this. Like you go anywhere you want. We didn't have to miss our flight this morning. We were running a little bit late. We got some food. We were relaxed. Let's get an Uber. What time do we want to meet down there? It was like 9 o'clock. Then I was like, let's push to 9:45. And we get home. We put all of our bags right in the car and we go. That's freedom. That's what we want. Entrepreneurs want freedom, right?
Absolutely.
And so something like this, aviation, it gives me a lot of freedom to go where I want, when I want, with who I want. I can meet somebody at an event and say, jump in the plane with me, let's go fly together. We did a podcast together virtual and met a couple times, but this is a great experience and I get to see it through your eyes, which is really cool for me. So yeah, I'd say 10 to 20% would be my recommendation, because then you got some more money to invest, you got some more money for your living expenses in life. So I'd carve out about 10 to 20% of my income.
How old were you when you flew your first plane?
I didn't fly for the first time until I was 24. So 2004, and I'm aging myself a little bit, but I was 24 years old. I had just joined the military, and I flew my first plane in Destin, Florida, and it was a Cessna 172 that the Navy paid for. So I didn't grow up flying airplanes when I was young. I didn't grow up dreaming to be a pilot. It was just I was joining the Navy, and it seemed to be the best and coolest thing to do in the Navy.
What's the longest journey you have done on this plane? Or any plane?
In this plane? So I flew from Washington State to Nashville. So that
What's the distance between people who don't know?
That was probably it was about 5.5 hours of flight time.
Oh wow!
And so it was probably over almost 2,000 miles.
Okay.
2,000 nautical miles. So for reference, today we're flying about 1,300 or 1,400 nautical miles. So I have just enough gas to make that flight. So that was about 5.5 hours of flight time. There's no bathroom in here, so you got to hold it, or use the Gatorade bottle.
Exactly. That's cool. So stepping back to when you were doing this job, your full-time job, I saw that you mentioned that you built up an 8-figure business along with the job. Was that the story, or you quit your job and then you built an 8-figure business? Was it?
Yeah, it was. So it wasn't an 8-figure business when I was full-time. We were a 7-figure business after a year. So I was building a real estate company, so a real estate investment company. We'd flip houses, we'd buy them, fix them up, and sell them. And I was active duty Navy. I was flying about 10 to 12 hours a day in the airplane. I strapped to an ejection seat, oxygen mask, G-suit. We were doing aerobatics in the plane with the students, teaching them how to fly. So I couldn't answer my phone. I was up at 15,000 feet doing aerobatics. So you can imagine building a real estate investment company that you have to talk to people, you have to make an offer on their house, manage contractors. So I had to build a team. So I went from flipping one house a year, and then I joined a mastermind program, and I did 67 houses in the next 8 months. So we did about $700K in revenue the first year, and that was great because I didn't have a lot of team members. A lot of that was me. I kept a lot of that money. That's the most money I ever made in my life. And then the next year I did 1.3 million, and we did 135 houses. And so I was still active duty. And then the next year we did 187 houses, about 2.5 million. And I left my active duty job then and went in the reserves. And so yeah, and we didn't get to 10 million until we started the coaching business. We started the coaching, 2-3 years after that. And I was full-time real estate investor and full-time coach and part-time pilot for the Navy then. So I kind of flip-flopped from full-time pilot, part-time real estate investor to full-time real estate investor, part-time pilot. And I didn't leave the Navy because of the business. I didn't leave the Navy because of the money I was making. I left the Navy because my son got sick. My son was going to get born. He was being born with half a heart. He needed heart surgery. Oh. And after that happened, I didn't want to deploy. I didn't want to go overseas. I didn't want to be away from my son, who was,
right.
We didn't know how much time we were going to have with him. So that's why I left the Navy, not because of the work.
Amazing, man. And since till today, like how many houses you have flipped total?
Over 1,000. Over
Over
1,000
1,000.
houses, yeah. Yeah.
And averagely, they make it's a six-figure return that you get.
No. Our average profit on a deal is probably somewhere around 25K.
Okay.
22 to 25K, because some we just like flip the contract, so we put the house under contract and I'd sell it to somebody like you for a fee. It might make like 8, 10, 15,000, and then we got some bigger ones who make 60, 80, 100,000. But no, if they were all six figures, that'd be great. If we'd done 100 million, well, we've probably done about 25 million in revenue in that business over the last 12 years or so, 13 years.
Okay. Okay. And now your most of the time is going towards like coaching side of the stuff, or more in the you're doing both. The flipping houses is still going
What was
on.
that question? What did you ask?
So like currently, how's your time going? Where you're devoting your time in coaching versus flipping houses or investment?
Yeah, the investment business that I have, the flipping business, I have a partner,
Okay.
and so I'm a minority owner now. I built the company, and then I actually brought in a partner to run the business when I went to do the coaching business. So he runs the show. I don't spend any time in there at all, 0 time, and I get some distributions when we make money and revenue and things. I don't take a salary anymore or anything like that. And then so I spend most of the time on the coaching business.
Okay.
And so I build new ideas and strategies and some coaching calls and live events that we do, things like that. So I spend the majority of my time there and raising money. I raise a lot of money for apartments and our real estate investment. I have a couple other investing companies. I have three other investment companies that I raise money for.
Now, out of like usually it's like 4 quadrants. That you're an employer, you're a business, self-employed, and then all that.
Yeah, so
Why
employee, self-employed, business owner,
and investor.
and investor. Yeah.
Why did you choose the investor one?
I have a belief that everyone should be in the I box all the time, even if you're an employee. If you're in the E box, so the E, S, and B. So we're talking about Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant here. So the employee doesn't have to move to the investor. The employee can be an investor. The employee just needs to take some of the money that they make and invest it. So it makes money without them. It makes money while they're sleeping. So I've always been an investor. Even when I was an employee for the military and not a business owner, not flipping houses, I always was investing in the stock market at that time. You can invest in the stock market, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in cryptocurrency for all I care. But you have to invest. So make more money, spend less, and invest the rest. Invest the excess. Everybody should be an investor. But I am like a hyper investor. Like I want to dump as much money as I can into my investment quadrant. So I was an employee for the Navy. I was in the E box, the E quadrant. I moved to the S quadrant. I built my own business. I was self-employed. I did a lot of the work myself. And then I built an actual business. I removed myself. I hired a COO. He was running the company full-time. I was working about 2 hours a week. We were making a couple $1 million in top-line revenue. My net profit was like, I don't know, somewhere between $350 to $500K a year at that time. And I took all that money that I could and I invested it all the time. So everybody should be an investor. Everybody should be investing as much money as they can all the time. Don't wait to go into that quadrant. Everybody can go in that quadrant. But I would definitely move from the E quadrant to the B quadrant, the employee to the business owner, in a reasonable pace, but as quickly as possible.
Cool. Now, what's the biggest investment have you done? Like where you poured the maximum money in? Like,
Biggest investment I've ever made in like one thing?
Yeah, one thing.
Probably $250,000, like $250,000.
Okay.
Maybe $300,000. I put $300,000 in an apartment recently. I'm probably, depending on how much, I have a couple loans out. When they come back, I might dump $500,000 in the next one. I like to spread mine out. I like to bury like $100,000 in my backyard, $100,000 in my backyard. I think about like a dog burying a bone. Okay. And what I mean by that is, if I make $100,000 in a month, I don't want it. I want to invest it somewhere. I want to get rid of it. Like I don't want it. I have no cash. I have no money in my bank account. I do not like cash. I want to invest it. I want to put it somewhere where it's going to double and let somebody else double it for me while I go make more money actively. So that's my mindset. So I also don't like putting all my eggs in one basket. So that's why I own pieces of lots of apartment buildings. I own about a little over 2,000 apartment doors, 2,000 doors, to maybe 10, 15 apartment buildings. And I like to spread it out so that, because some are going to hit, some are going to do okay. They're not all going to be grand slams or home runs. So so I try not to invest like millions in one thing. I'd rather put 250 here, 250 here, 200 here, 300 here, and just and every month, if I make 100K, I'm going to invest somewhere. Where am I going to invest it? I don't want it. I don't want the money. Cash is trash. I don't want the cash.
It's just trash. Make more money and keep investing. That's what it is. Amazing.
Stack the investments, because I'm also still, I think, relatively young. I'm in my prime earning years, I feel like. Cool thing is, Tony Robbins, he told me that, he said if you're over 42 years old today, you're in the winter, you're like in the prime time to earn and invest and let your money grow. So that's where I am right now, and I'm glad he said that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And for someone who is investing, like who wants to get into investing, what are the different buckets they should put their money? Maybe you can talk about 3 buckets, or first three buckets, or five buckets.
There's 3 things that I look for in an investment. Number 1 is cash flow.
Okay.
Number 2 is net worth growth. And the third one is a tax benefit. So cash flow, net worth growth, and tax benefit. Every single one of these every investment opportunity you look at has one of these 3 things. So let's look at the stock market. The stock market, in a dividend-paying stock, it has a little bit of cash flow. So you'll get dividends maybe quarterly. That's a little bit of cash flow.
Right.
Net worth growth means it's going to go up over time, which it's supposed to. That's what you're investing in, right? So we have some net worth growth. And then you have a tax benefit in the fact that you get some long-term capital gains if you hold that stock longer than a year. So it kind of has all 3, possibly on a dividend-paying stock. If it's a non-dividend paying stock, you have net worth growth and some tax benefit in long-term capital gains, right? And then let's look at cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency might be another bucket. It doesn't have any cash flow. It doesn't have any capital gains or any tax benefit. It might have some tax benefit. You hold it a long period of time. You might be able to sell it at long-term capital gains and give you a little bit of tax benefit, which just means it's going to be taxed at slightly lower than your active income, so maybe 15 to 20%. And then it's got net worth growth. So everybody's banking on net worth growth. If the value is going to go up, it's going to grow their net worth, right? And then the third bucket, I would say, is real estate. So we got stocks, and I would say stocks, bonds, mutual funds, use them exclusively, or interchangeably, right? And then you've got cryptocurrency now, which is, what a lot of people are putting their net worth into, their money into. And then real estate. What I love about real estate is it gets me all 3 of these things better than any other vehicle out there. So I buy a property, I can get cash flow off it. Let's say I have a rental property. I get cash flow. So maybe $200-300 a month, maybe $500 a month comes in every month. Then I get net worth growth because that is going to grow in equity over time. And then I get a tax benefit. I get to write off the value of the house over a period of time in depreciation. It offsets the income that I get from my cash flow, and I don't have to pay tax on that. And so it's a beautiful tool. And so I say the real estate is an ideal investment, IDEAL. This is my favorite kind of talk track. It gives me income.
Good.
N, it gets me net worth growth. C, it gives me cash flow. Okay, wait, hold on. I screwed this up. Okay, sorry, let me go back. I'm saying income, I'm spelling income. Okay, it's an ideal investment, real estate ideal investment, IDEAL. So it gives me income, so that's my cash flow every single month, right? D is depreciation, so I get to depreciate the asset, give me a write-off on my taxes. E is equity, when the property goes up in value, and all these properties appreciate in value over a long period of time. It gives me equity in the home. The other thing is that the tenant is paying down my mortgage. So when the tenant pays the monthly payment, it pays down my mortgage, which gives me equity, right? A, appreciation, I kind of just mentioned that, but appreciation also builds my equity up, right? The houses are going to appreciate over time. And L is my favorite one, which you really don't get in other areas. It's leverage. So I can buy a house with no money down and get a bank loan, potentially. Or I could buy a house with 10% down. And the cool thing, let's say I buy $1 million house, and I put $200,000 down on the house, right? I get a loan for 80%. The tenant pays my mortgage, And let's say the house doubles over 10 years. Now it's worth $2 million. Well, I bought it for $1 million. I put $200,000 into it, right? So my cash invested is $200K.
100K.
It just went up $1 million. I sell it. I pay the bank off the mortgage. The bank doesn't take any of my $1 million. I get to keep all the increase. So the bank is helping me. I can use the bank to help me grow my net worth. And they don't participate in the upside. And real estate is always going to appreciate over time. There's a little bit of that can happen in the stock market. You might be able to get some leverage on some stocks, but not the way that real estate is. So that leverage is that's the key. That's the tool to say that real estate is the ideal investment. And so many ways to make money in real estate. I would say look there to anyone that's listening to this. You ready to buy a property now?
Sir?
You ready to buy an investment property now after that talk?
I bought it recently, but I bought it. It was a gift for my family. I bought it in India. So yeah. So that's what we did.
We need more. After that, I hope you're like, oh, I need more property. I need more property.
Yeah. So I was gonna come to that question. Let's say somebody has $100,000. They are like, okay, where should I put my money in? How would you divide that $100,000 from your experience? Like what are the places? What are the buckets that you will put that $100,000?
I think everybody's a little bit different, right? What's your risk profile? So it's really hard to kind of blanket say, if you had $100,000, put it here. Right. Step one is I would say make sure you have an emergency fund. Right. So if all you have is $100,000 and you invest it somewhere that's going to be in something for 5-6 years, and a tree falls on your house, or you have an emergency, and you're going to have to ask for that money back. That's a mistake. So have an emergency fund, which might be a couple months of your expenses. Then you take that investment and say, all right, what's my goal? Do I want cash flow? Maybe you're older and you're getting ready to retire. Like, you know what? I want a monthly payment to offset my income. Or maybe you're younger and you don't care about cash flow. You want net worth growth. You just want to, you have a lot of time. Compound interest is your friend, and you can invest it for a long period of time. Or you might be like, I'm paying a crap load in taxes right now. I'm an entrepreneur. I make a ton of money, and I got this $100K. I'm trying to use it to offset some taxes. And because each one of those will take you down to a different investment strategy. Right. So it's really hard to say where to put it. Obviously, I'm biased towards real estate, and I don't know, eat my own dog food, some people say. Like, I drink my own Kool-Aid. Like, I actually do what I'm saying, and I dump all my money into real estate. I don't have hardly any stocks. I don't have any cryptocurrency. I'm kind of sad to say, but I'm okay with it. Okay. And I just have a huge real estate portfolio, and it pays me cash flow. It grows my net worth, and it offsets my taxes. I haven't paid federal taxes in the last 4 years. So I really love the idea of buying real estate with it. And so if that was me, what I would do is I would say, do I want to be a little bit active, or do I want to be 100% passive? No. If you want to be 100% passive, meaning you do nothing. You invest, you underwrite the people in the deal, you look at it, and then you invest it, and you're done. Hands off, you just get email updates and quarterly checks. I would invest in an apartment syndication. I would find an apartment syndicator, somebody who buys apartments like me, that underwrites the deal, does a good job, and you can invest $100,000 to buy equity in that apartment building and do nothing. You're a limited partner. You don't have voting rights on the LLC, but you own shares effectively, or stock in the apartment, and it pays you out dividends, and it grows your net worth, and you get a K1 loss on your taxes. So that's where I'd put it if I want to be passive. If I want to be active, I would probably buy a rental property and use that as my down payment. Okay. Or a down payment on a couple rental properties, depending on where you are. And I would buy some rental properties. Those are the two things that I would look at. Active, and a rental property is not totally passive. It's an active, passive job. So
it's not one size fits all. It's more of your personal situations and obviously your personal choices as well. You want to make active money or passive money. Oh, okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, really important for you to go through that checklist. Do I want cash flow? Do I want net worth growth? Yeah. And do I want and people be like, or tax benefit? I want all three. You could get all three, but what's your primary objective? The primary objective of what you want will push you in the direction of what investment vehicle you should be looking at. Like if you want cash flow, you should not even look at cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what kind of, not paying dividends? Right. It's just going up over time. Right. And that's if you want net worth growth, you got to look over there. But if you're older and you want cash flow, or you want a cash flow now, that's not the place to put your money.
And in that perspective, what do you think people are making blunder mistakes. Like you want to talk about 3 blunder mistakes that people usually make while putting their money or investing their money.
Yeah, that's great. So the biggest mistake I see people make, and I've made it myself, I've lost quite a bit of money investing in the wrong people. So the deal looks good, the numbers look good, everything looks good, but the person who's running the deal is more important than all of that. So look, the character, the values, the integrity of those people, their track record, their performance, have they done well in the past? Are they likely to do well in the future? Ask them difficult questions. The most important thing is the return of principal, not the return on principal. So if you invest 100K, the most important thing is getting your 100K back, not how much money am I going to make on it. So somebody tells you you're going to make 30, 40% on your money, and they seem shady. Let's ask some questions, guys. Let's not just invest in it blindly. Understand it. The second thing is people invest in stuff they don't understand at all. Invest in the wrong people, and then next you invest in the wrong kind of deal. You don't understand it. That's why I never invested in crypto. I just haven't taken the time to learn it to the point where I'm comfortable enough to invest my money into it. Especially early on. In 2016, there was a guy who came up to me and told me to go buy Bitcoin. And I was like, he had like, I don't know, 100 of them or something. I didn't buy a single one of them. I didn't understand it. It seemed risky. I had no idea what he was talking about.
How much was it?
It was about, it was like $8,000 at that point,
Okay.
or
Wow.
like that. And so I was like, I don't know. The other thing is I didn't have like $80,000 to buy 10 of them either, you know? So I didn't really have a ton of money at that point. I was dumping everything back in my business. I wasn't really investing as heavily as I am now. But, it just is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. I made money elsewhere, and I feel comfortable with real estate. Like, I feel very comfortable with real estate. So invest in what you know. And so the who, right?
Yeah.
And then the what is like, what are you investing in? Think about it. I had a friend lost all of his money in a big oil and gas scheme. It was a Ponzi scheme. He invested in the wrong people, and he's investing in oil and gas, and what he didn't really understand. There was, he put over $1 million in that investment and lost it all.
Oh.
And so I highly encourage those two things. And I would say the third one that I see is putting all of your eggs in one basket. We talked about that. Is just dumping all of your money into one thing, or one deal, and hoping it goes bananas. I like to spread it out a little bit, and I don't mean that you need money in stock market, cryptocurrency, and real estate, but I mean like maybe not all of your money in Bitcoin. Maybe if you love cryptocurrency and that's your thing, maybe you're spreading it out over some different types of coins. So maybe you got Ethereum, maybe you got Bitcoin, maybe you got XRP, maybe you got a couple things, right? For me, that's why I have houses, I have apartments in different areas. I have some, I do some loans in real estate. So I kind of spread it out across real estate. So almost all my net worth is in real estate, but it's spread out across a couple different asset classes, a couple different areas and locations, just to kind of hedge some bets for me.
Right. So that's becoming like more of a. That's what I assume is like you believe in multiple income streams on that. Coming from real estate, coming from crypto or net worth. I mean, so when for a beginner, like I'm trying to create a 2 point of views here. We always say like focus on one thing, okay?
Yep.
And then say multiple streams of income or multiple area of focuses. How do you see them as? Is there a part of a journey like start from one, give yourself like these many years before you build multiple? What do you say on that?
Yeah, I think like your active. You got to look at it like active income and investment income. So if you think about that as two different buckets, right? On the active side, I would highly encourage people to be more focused. Like focus on one thing. Like you run one business, run it really well, go really deep in it, and that's your active income. So you always want to get your active income up. The best and easiest way to get your active income up is to do what you're really good at, what you're focused on, and stay focused there. And go really deep and make great money there and figure out how to give yourself a raise every day. Now, on the income side, or the investment side, what I was talking about is some diversification inside of that area. So for me, I'm diversifying inside of real estate. And I don't look at that as even like any active income. That's not like money that comes in actively for me. That's totally passive. Like someone else is the active operator of those businesses. So if you're investing in like Bitcoin or you're not making Bitcoin. You're not actively involved in it. It's very passive. You're investing in the stock market, S&P 500, Apple, Microsoft, something like this. You're not running those businesses. Somebody else is. So it's up to them to run it. So you're investing in their business, right? So they're the active operator in there. So you're hoping that they run a good company, that they pay dividends, that they make money, and then that comes to you. So you make money while you sleep. All you're doing is maybe like a little bit of active or slightly semi-passive management of your investment amounts in there, right? So that's totally, and so apartment, same thing. You invest in an apartment. There's an operator that's running that apartment. I'm not running the apartment. There's an operator that's running it day to day. So I'm investing in there. I'm saying they're going to make good decisions, and I'm going to put my money there and bet on them. So I'll diversify inside of that because I want to invest in a couple different businesses, and those people are actively running it. So what I can do is I can focus on my business to actively run and manage my business such that it's profitable or very profitable, take the money out and go invest it somewhere else and then keep making money in that business. Hopefully that makes sense. I would really focus in your active income and then diversify a little bit more in the passive income.
Beautiful.
But it starts somewhere. Like if you only have 100K, invest 100K in something and go make another 100K. So I would say, how long is it going to take me to make this? To make that amount of money again. So like if I do an apartment deal, I used to invest like 25K in an apartment deal or 50K in an apartment deal. Now I'm like 200K, 300K, 250K because I can make that money faster than I could before. So before I'd invest 25K because it take me a long time to build up 25K again.
Right.
So when you start thinking about that, just invest it all. And what happens is, and this is why I think cash is trash. My bank account has $100,000 in it today. I'm like, oh, I got $100,000. I can kind of relax a little bit, you know? But if I take it out and I put in an apartment that's going to be in there for 5 to 7 years, and I can't touch it, now my bank account's at zero. I go, crap, I got to make some money.
Yeah.
And I go out there and make some money.
Yeah, exactly.
And I increase my active income until I got another $100,000 in there. So most of you are comfortable because you have some savings.
Oh, yeah.
I have no savings. I only have investments.
Oh.
I do not save money. I invest money. I have no savings. Like, I don't have a bunch of savings. I do have an emergency fund. It's about, for me, it's 300,000. It used to be a lot less.
Yeah.
But 300K is like all I'm comfortable with going below. And then anytime it goes above that, I'm looking for a place to invest it. And it's like a hot potato. It's like, I don't want it. And then the cool thing is, 5 to 7 years from then, my buddy will call me up and say, hey, we just sold that apartment. I'm sending you back. You put in 100K. I'm sending you back 200. And I go, oh crap! I forgot I had that. Great, 200K. And then what happens? It goes to my account, and I go, I don't want it back, man. Put it in the next apartment. Put all 200K in the next one. So that's the mindset of how you can massively grow your net worth and stack money over time. Is don't keep money in your bank account because it makes you lazy.
Makes you in comfort zone. I understand that part. I've been into that phase. I've seen it. Follow-up question to that is, like you have been doing this investment from a long time. What's a big fat check or return that you got that is like, wow, okay, I didn't. Sometimes you don't imagine this can turn into something big like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a single and double kind of guy if you think about, baseball analogies, right? But I don't hit a lot of home runs. So there was one apartment that we did that returned 94% return on the investor's money in 22 months, in less than 2 years. So we doubled people's money in less than 2 years. That was a killer return for us. I love that one. And so, but mostly it's like I said, I'll put 100K in something, and it'll come back at 178 or 180, and I'll make 80 grand in like 2 or 3 years. And it's just, and then it just starts stacking up and stacking up and stacking up. I really don't swing for the fences. I'm really pretty conservative investor. I'm an aggressive conservative investor. So I just put all my money into things that are singles and doubles, and sometimes we'll hit a home run. And that one, we did one in Chattanooga. It was a great deal. Recently, we bought a deal for 50% off, an apartment building for 50% off. So it was that's going to be a great deal when we sell it, but we still have it and we still own it. So
yeah,
nothing huge where I like invest 10K and I made $1 million. Like it's just not that guy. I'm hitting doubles.
You put a great perspective on like when you are in comfort zone, you obviously don't grow. I remember there's a funny incident happened. I went to one of my friends, and he's doing like a full-time job. He's making around 45, 50 grand a year only. And I saw a book in his room, and the book is like, okay, how to invest your money, something around that book. I'm like, bro, this is the wrong book you're reading. He's like, why is that? Like, you're not making enough to learn about investing at this point. You should be maybe learning a skill set or something where you just also mentioned, yeah, you make your money from a other business and then you take the chunk out of it.
Yeah.
So that's a not a lot of people think like that. It's just like some people watch a YouTube video like, oh, this guy is saying do this. Whatever extra $2,000, $3,000 they are making out of their monthly salary, and then started putting in crypto or real estate or whatever. That's not a. My perspective says that's not
well,
ideal.
so in the beginning, if you put just $500 a month into the stock market, in the total index, total stock market index fund, in like Vanguard, $500 a month every single month. Like if you can just invest $500 a month in there forever, you'll be a multimillionaire, but in the next 20, 30 years. So I'll say if that's what you have, you don't need to wait until you have 100,000. That's what I'm trying to get at also, is like don't save up for 3 or 4 or 5 years before you invest. So that's what I did when I was younger and I didn't make a lot of money, right? And I didn't have this mindset of go make more money. And I'm a government employee. Like you can look up what we make on the internet. If I work harder and you work less, we make the same amount.
Yeah.
So it's more of a socialist system, right? Of like, come on, it's ridiculous. And so I would break off as much as I could every month and just invest it in the stock market. And then when I got more money, with that, when I was making more money and investing bigger, that was stacking up, and I could pull it out and then deploy it somewhere else. So I would encourage people to do that, and try not to time the market. That's another thing I didn't mention. Timing the market is always a mistake. If you want to go buy real estate, go buy it today. I could promise you that in 10 or 15 years, it's going to be worth way more than it's worth today. Now, if you only hold it for a year or two, you'll get caught. But if you hold it for a long period of time, it will always go up. Same with the stock market. It's always going to go up over long periods of time. So invest, even a small amount, invest that money. You don't have to wait till you have 50K or 100K. That's the thing. I was always an investor, even when I didn't make very much money. But the follow-up to that is increase your income, increase your active income. Like, even if it's a side hustle, if it's other things that you have to do, maybe, like I used to just flip houses on the side. Like one a year, I made 40 grand.
Right.
And I would go invest that money, because I didn't need it. And so go figure out how to make more money, whether it's in your job or it's a side hustle. It's something you can sell some e-com, like an Amazon fulfillment store on the side, or you're flipping stuff at flea markets, and whatever it is. Like, find a way to make more money on the side, and then what you want to do is keep your expenses the same, or decrease them a little bit if you can. But you cannot save your way to become a millionaire. You can't drop your expenses like this whole like being cheap movement.
Yeah,
I did
mindset.
that for a long period of time. That was my mindset.
Okay.
It's like, I told my wife, you're not allowed to buy Starbucks. I got a machine, just make it at home.
Yeah.
And they're saving an extra $20 a week.
Uh-huh.
That's not going to change our lives. I should have put that same effort into go make an extra $1,000 a week on the side. And so increase the active income. Live like you do now or slightly less for as long as you can while your active income's up, and invest the difference. So that's what I did. I fixed my expenses. I made more money over time, and I invested the difference. And it really grew very large, to tens of millions of dollars just from playing the long game. I'm 44. I started this when I was 15. Most people start investing in their late 20s or early 30s. I was investing when I was 15 years old, in the stock market. And every money that the little bit of money that I would make in the summer or things like that, I had no expenses. My parents paid for a lot of. I just didn't need anything. I didn't have a car at 15, so I made a little money mowing grass or whatever. I put in the stock market.
Cool. Amazing. Now, interesting question. So it's like, if we take the investment on the side, okay, Bill is not allowed to do the investment. We have banned you for investment. What else would you be doing? What is the different niche or different stuff you can do that? What would be doing?
If I can't invest in things?
If you cannot be an investor.
Do I have $100 million or something? Because then I go on vacation.
No, it's like you want to make money, but you cannot invest.
Oh, okay. So I don't understand the question. Why can't I invest? You can always invest. What?
Banned for that.
I mean, what's the outcome I'm looking for? I
No,
mean,
what would you be doing differently?
what would I do differently if I can invest?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
This is a personal question. I mean, what would Bill be doing?
I don't know. Like, why wouldn't I be investing?
Just like that. I was like, okay, we talked about an investment a lot, and you are leveraging it a lot. I'm like, okay, if we cut that chain, and we want to see other perspective, other side.
I mean, the only thing I would say is I don't even spend a lot of time on the investments. I just put my money in there and forget about it. So, I mean, I'd probably do what I'm doing now, spend a lot more money, a lot more time on my active income, or the cool thing about investing is it doesn't take a lot of time. So if I couldn't invest, money would just be
That's why I'm stopping
being
you.
added up in my bank account. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's not like I do anything. I take my money, I give it to somebody else. I'm like, hey, oh, you have an investment? Here you go. You're running a business. Let me invest in your business. Let me buy some equity in your business. Here you go. Go run it. I'm done. We heard Tony Robbins talk about it. He's like 114 businesses doing over $9 billion.
Yeah.
Like, that's passive for him.
Right.
He doesn't have to do anything. He's got operators in all those, got CEOs in all those. They're running without him. They use his brand, they use his name, they use his likeness, they use his image, they use all those things, but that's it. He might send some emails to his email list. He might, do a meeting once a year. But, I mean, you got to a place where, so I would be building those kind of businesses that produce income and revenue, because that's producing cash flow. An active income business produces cash flow, right? And maybe not really net worth growth, because your money is deflating over time, right? It's going down. Your money is getting less and less useful, less and less valuable over time. And so, I'd probably spend more time on my active business, or try to build out a passive business portfolio. But I mean, that's an investment.
It's an investment.
Too, right?
Yeah. I was going to say that.
And everything's an investment. If you're spending your time is the biggest investment that you make. So focus on where you're spending your time.
Interesting. Cool. What are the top winners quality that you see in entrepreneurs? Like the top entrepreneurs have this. You have worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. You are surrounded with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, two big things. Number one is decision making.
Okay.
Decision making is the key to building a business and being an entrepreneur, and even being an employee. Being successful in life and in business is making a decision quickly, gathering the information that you need as quickly as possible, pulling from your past experiences, and making a decision, and sticking by it until you get new information. So people that do really well, they make decisions quickly, and it doesn't have to be the right decision either. That's where people get stuck. I got to make the perfect decision. Doesn't exist. Will never exist. The perfect decision doesn't exist. Make a decision, stick to it, and then stand in the fire if it's wrong, and if it's right, bask in the greatness that you'll see. So that's one, decision making. The second one is leadership. Leadership is so important. People follow a great leader. In entrepreneurship, you need people that will follow you and support you and help you grow your business. The right leader like a good leader will dominate skill set any day of the week. You have somebody who's better skilled but a horrible leader or a horrible communicator, they're going to lose to a better leader. And so, and that skill of leadership is really important. Like people are the way that businesses work and run. If you have great people, your business is going to do well. And the way that you show up in certain moments as a leader, they're watching that. I'll give you an example. Last night, we were leaving to go from our hotel to another hotel to meet some friends. And I messaged our event director for the event that we just left, Miles. And I said, hey, Miles, we're going to this casino. Do you want to come with us? And he was like, yeah, I do. But the whole convention center, all the things that Tony Robbins had, those batons, they were all on the floor. And he said, they're not cleaning it up. So me and Clayton are down here cleaning it all up.
Hello.
And I was like, I'll be right there. And I went down there and grabbed a couple people with me. And then along the way, I got 6 other people to come. and more hands make light work, right? And just recruited people along the way. Everybody that I saw, they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to the convention. I'm going to the conference room because Miles is in there by himself cleaning all this up." And people just like, "I'll go with you. I'll go with you. I'll go with you." And we showed up, and what would have taken them probably an hour, we took, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes for us. And I mean, it's a small example of, nobody's too good to clean up trash, and we can all help each other. It was a long 6 days. Everybody was tired. He wanted to go home, and to see me show up, and it was funny because there were some other team members that were in there just sitting down, and I was like, "Come on, let's go, let's get to work." And I think that's what I've seen in really great leaders before, is they're willing to do whatever it takes to get things done, and their people notice that. And he sent me a message later that night like, "Hey man, we haven't had that kind of leader in the business for a while, and it's really cool that you came back down and helped me." So that's people that will go to battle for you and with you. They'll go to war with you. And we got to do those little things are really big things. So leadership skills and developing those, that's just a small example of what that could be, is the most important thing for an entrepreneur to develop. And you can learn that. It's not like you have to be born with it. It's not a skill that I had to learn in the military. Like, it's totally a learned skill to learn how to be a better leader. You just have to focus on it and develop it.
So we talked about people who are winners. They have these qualities. Now at the same time, you have seen people who couldn't make it, who are like, okay, they try it, unsuccessful, or like, what are the things that you say, okay, these are the things it needs to be fixed in them so that they can also fall into the bucket of winners?
Yeah, they're quitters.
That?
They're quitters. They quit.
Quitters. Okay.
I think quitters, they don't build enough confidence, and they don't have enough patience. You got to have a lot of patience in business and in life for the work that you're doing to work on you. And so that's the challenge I see a lot of people make, is they quit way too early. They don't know how close they were to that breakthrough or that big change that they needed. So everybody wants the result like overnight, and they're not willing to put in the time and the effort and the energy to get the result that they actually truly desire. And then they bounce from thing to thing to thing, and they don't have success in any of those things because they're bouncing around all the time and they're not putting in the work in one area long enough. So I see people quit, like, just stop quitting, just keep going, and if there's something you really want, be there, go all in on it, focus on it, learn it, study it, and you got to put in the time. And you got to put in the time when it sucks and you suck. Like, you got to put in the time when you're like, man, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but it's working on you. And so that's one thing. The second one is I don't think people don't invest their time or their money in mentors, like people who can actually make them better. Like, they don't spend enough. They won't invest money in themselves. They want to take they look at the easy way as being like YouTube University, listening to podcasts, reading books. All that stuff's great, but you can skip the line by getting a paid mentor, and you're paying with your money or you're paying with your time. But either way, you're going to pay. So I think you just got to choose. If you want to learn on the street, it's going to take a long time. You're going to pay. It's going to be a long route. Or you can pay to skip the line with a great mentor who's willing to take their time. And they usually want to get paid. They spent up a lot of time developing the skill set, the mindset, the strategies, the tactics, the methods, and they're willing to share them with people. And I mean, I'm grateful for that. I've had so many great mentors in my life. Somebody this week said something that was really interesting to me. They're like, write down some of your teachers from when you were in school. I couldn't remember a single teacher name. I couldn't, not like one teacher's name. Maybe like one, but I had like a physics class with this guy, and the only reason I remember is because he got arrested after I was like older and his name was in the news. So like, I don't really remember a lot of my teachers, but I can remember every single mentor in my profession, like my personal development life and my business life. I can remember every mentor that I paid or that I just like watched or listened to or learned from. I can remember all of their names, and not just because they're in my life today. I'm talking about like mentors from 15 years ago. So that was very interesting to me. Is those people have impacted my life way greater than, formal education. So I think there's a couple things that I see in people that aren't successful. They just don't have enough patience. They want the success, and they want the thing overnight, and they just want to go fast and go fast and go fast. Like, slow down, put in the time, pay your dues, cut your teeth, and it will be like a hockey stick on the back end of that. Versus bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. You don't build up the compound interest of learning and development. You don't build up. There's no compounding that happens. It's just all linear. There's no exponential growth because you're not willing to just take a little bit longer to take some time.
We're talking about mentors. Now, you remember, just like you said, yeah, that you learned a lot from them, and you remember most of them. So, what are the three things that were aha moments for you when you, like, it can be from three different mentors as well, like, those like completely shifted your entire, like, took you from that, journey from hockey stick growth or
Yeah.
6 to 7 to 8 figures?
There's a couple things. So the first one is proximity. Just being close to these mentors, people that are making millions of dollars, and just being around them and seeing they're normal people, they have kids, they have problems, they aren't perfect, all that stuff, right? That to me was incredible. So proximity is power for sure. That's one thing that I learned over and over and over again is they don't have anything that I don't have, which means I can totally do it. So if they can, I can. So, and the second one is like everybody has this unique ability to do something. Like, so I might be different than the mentor, or I know something they don't, and they know something I don't. So I try to just like learn certain things from them, but really lean into my strengths. One of some of the best advice I ever got from mentors was just, strengthen your strengths and hire your weaknesses. And so that was really big for me. And then, obviously we're just coming off of Tony Robbins. He didn't talk about it there, but he's got a saying that's repetition, immersion, and modeling. So I like to model my mentors, their activity, their thoughts, their beliefs, their mindset, and I immerse myself in that, right? And then I'm repeating it over and over and over again. That's where the time piece comes in. Repetition. Things take time to learn and become natural to you. And so that's something that I learned with pretty much any mentor I've ever had. So there's repetition, immersion, modeling, and just being around them and realizing that they put their pants on the same way I do. They got the same problems I do, possibly more, and just normal people. And you're totally capable of doing it. Like if I can do it, you can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. It's just that's the biggest thing, the biggest aha that I've ever had.
Beautiful. Now I'm trying to come to that ClickFunnels world. So you are deeply invested into that. You are into program as well, and you are working with team Russell and all that stuff. What's your role in ClickFunnels right now?
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Prime Mover. So Prime Mover is the info product business. So Funnel Hacking Live, Prime Mover Mastermind, Prime Mover Foundation and Mentoring, Inner Circle, Atlas, Category Kings, Magnetic Marketing, Secrets of Success, all the staff. We have about 80 team members, all the traffic that we run, the social media. So all those people, customer service, support, designers, funnel builders. I lead the team. So the CEO, as a CEO, really I got a CEO COO role. So I'm like really like leading the team, building that out and setting metrics and KPIs and things like that. Well, I'm the operational guy behind Russell in the info product business.
You Dream 100 Russell as well?
Oh, for sure. Dream 1.
What was the story?
Did I ever send? So I actually went really crazy on the Dream 100 with Russell because I had this idea 6 or 7 years ago that I wanted. So we sent him, me and my buddy sent him all kinds of stuff. Sent him a bunch of stuffed animal wrestling dolls Macho Man Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior, big stuffed animals with some notes. Sent him a sports almanac with a whole story on it. He showed it in his story. It was kind of funny. I just, not for anything other than to see if he would watch one of our videos because we had this business idea that we want to get in front of him. But not, in this case, not really. I joined his mastermind group, 6 years ago. And then for the last 3 years, I've been in the inner circle, 3.5 years or so. And he just, got to understand what I was doing, what I was good at. He's a smart guy. So when he saw that, when he needed some help, he reached out and was like, hey, and he's just kind of like casually mentioned it, like there's no way he's going to do it. And I was interested and talked to him about it and ended up taking the job. So, so now, I said I'd never work for anybody again, but I think him and I could build something really, really big. There's only a handful, probably one handful of, 9-figure info product businesses, $100 million plus info businesses. And I think we can build one of them.
And the best way to dream 100, is it joining their programs, getting into their world?
Yeah. I mean, if you got somebody you want to get closer to them, 100% get in the room. Get in the room and just be yourself. Be yourself. Don't detach yourself from the output, the outcome, and just put in the time. Like 6 years, man. And I just keep paying him because I wanted to get close to him. That wasn't my goal. I kept paying and I stayed in there because I love the community. I love the people. Russell brings a great value to the inner circle, but so do the people and the connections. And I learn something new every year. I make more money every year because of it. The return on my investment and return on my time is very, very good. And I had no desire to go run a company with him or build something together. Never thought that we would do that. But I don't know anybody better. He's one of the best men on the planet. He is a true, he's just a really, really good guy, and he wants to help millions of people. So I'm attached to the mission, and I love the leader. He's awesome.
What are the other top people in your Dream 100 except Russell?
I've had, so Grant was probably on there, Grant Cardone, a while ago. Had the opportunity to fly in his jet and spend a couple days at his house after, doing something together. Tony Robbins is definitely up there for me. A couple of people probably people never heard of. That Dream 100, over time it just kind of changes, with new things that you do. There's some spiritual leaders that have been up there for me. So, getting to know my pastor at my church more. I'm at a big church, and just, the pastor of the church there, Darren, even, up there in my top 10 of somebody who I'd love to build a relationship with. But I'm not really the biggest extrovert and things. So I kind of at a time in my life where if that stuff happens, it happens, and I just kind of go with the flow. And just like you did today, I just say yes to opportunities. So we're flying up to play golf at this Christian artist, these big Christian artists, Zach Williams and Mercy Me are putting on a big golf tournament in Illinois, and my neighbor was like, hey, do you want to go? And I'm friends with them. We'll do backstage and all this stuff. And, I was like, yeah, let's just jump in the plane. We'll fly up there, throw our clubs in. And so the benefit of having a plane is I get in on some of this stuff. Had the opportunity to meet Ed Reed. Ed Reed, the NFL Hall of Fame safety for the Baltimore Ravens, has sat in the exact seat that you're in and done an interview with me on the show.
Wow.
And having the plane is a great way to build a new Dream 100 and meet them and spend time with them. So now there's a lot of sports athletes that I've had the opportunity to meet. And what I realize is they're just normal people. So there's a few of mine.
That's amazing. That's super. Any last words for our buddy entrepreneurs?
No, hopefully, the only thing I've got is, I love the idea of what happened today. You said yes to an opportunity. I think you're going to have a lot of opportunities that are put in front of you, and as you get more and more experience and more successful, there's more and more opportunities. So there's a time where it's just as important to decide to say yes to something or say no to something. What you say no to is almost more important than what you say yes to. But, when you have an opportunity to do something, just say yes and see how it goes, And I would say the thing that I leave you with is, don't just listen to this. Take some of the advice and actually do it. That's what society is not doing well today. They're just listening and consuming. They're not actually creating or doing something with the material that they consume. So if you made it this far, don't make it a waste of an hour or however long this was. Just take one thing and just do it. And if you try to take 100 things out of this and do them all, you're going to fail. You take one thing, you're going to be successful. It's like a 90+% chance of you being successful if you just try to do one thing.
On top of that, I would love to add that it's always a no until you ask for it. Like,
Right.
that's how our conversation started. Like, hey, we want to do the podcast in the plane. Hey, when can we do it? When is the next available date?
I was
We
like,
gotta ask until, otherwise it was a no, or we wouldn't be.
I was like, the next available date doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
now or never. I have no idea when it'll be, but
Exactly.
you could do now. So,
Yeah.
and you did it. That's pretty good. You're right.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Bill.
And I
for
said I
that.
got all the GoPros, so we
Yeah,
just turned them on.
It's like worked out really in our favor. So
Yep.
amazing. Thank you so much, Bill, for that. Just finished this, wrapped up this interview with Bill Allen, the guy who has built up multiple 8-figure business, and whatever you want to learn from him about business, leadership, about real estate investment, feel free to check out his Instagram, Facebook, all the social media channels.